G'day everyone and welcome to the Insight NBA show. Today I'm in a mock draft. I'm going from 3, and when things go awry, best laid plans go out the window, especially when drafting on the way back around the turn. Where do you go? How do you deal with it? And what tips and tricks can I give you in such positions like 3 towards the back end at 9 or those back ends? How can you change tact? Well, I'm going to show you right after this.
They're playing basketball.
It's time to strap in and get ready. The Insight NBA team is in the arena, bringing you the ultimate play-by-play on who's hot and who's not to help you win your leagues and dominate your mates. You're now hooping with your hosts, Matty G, Skitty, and Mally for the Insight NBA show.
Now, the draft is off and underway. I'm going to share my screen with you and get down to these tricks. As I said, I am drafting from 3. Let me put it up in here. It's not going. It's not going when I want it to. That's not fun. There we go. Should have Victor Wembanyama up there, number 1, as you've seen, has gone off the board immediately, the consensus. Now, when I'm picking from 3 today, I have a really good chance at someone like Luka or Shea. It's the automatic default. I haven't drafted with Luka yet. I'm going to give him a go. I'm going to pull him on in, and it's pretty much playing out as we guess for the first 4. So first trick and first tip is this. Number 1 is know who your targets are going to be at the end of the second round and who is slipping. So if you can get guys at the end of your second round and you can bolster that value with guys who could potentially return first round value or similarly at the end of the first round, it's really, really good value for you. Now, straight away, there's guys that I know that I've liked who I've seen fall in drafts. And you need to be prepared that they're going to go early. So, for example, if you're really holding on to someone like LaMelo Ball, and I did this in a draft the other day, and I was like, oh, that's great. But he's not going around there. You can see immediately there his X rank is 19, his rank is 39, and his ADP is 30. He can return first-round value for you. Now, I did this in the draft with the punting Wemby draft the other day. I look for another guy who can do it, and that's Kawhi. Kawhi is another guy who can bring me back that first round value straight away. So I'm looking now, his rank is 15, his ADP is 37. Why? Because injured Kawhi. We forget that he was incredibly healthy last year. Kawhi Leonard was a guy last year who played 68 games in total, only 14 games under. And if he's getting me 60 games and that's in that lead up, that's going to be good value. So I'm just going to queue up those 2 guys and see where I can go. Again, bad strategy. I know this. Because it's only 2 guys in my queue. I've got plenty of time, as you can see. Off the board goes Shea, Giannis, AD, Halliburton, Joel Embiid, Jason Tatum in that order on the first round. And now you're coming up to guys like Trae Young, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Donovan Mitchell. He's falling, some depending on how high people are on Don. But I'm just going to get my people some in there. Kyrie Irving is an interesting one. His rank is 30. His ADP already is 16. He's already coming up in drafts. He was someone who I'm really interested in. So the number 1 thing here is this. Have your queue prepared when you're going to be drafting in the turn. So these guys now, you can see that there's Dan drafting now back-to-back. He should know what he's doing. Jason's there. He's just had his pick. So he's on like the tender hooks. Like, where am I going? Fill your queues. Who are the guys that you want to get? What categories are you punting? I haven't punted anything. I actually could probably punt field goal percentage a little bit based on Luka. I could, maybe. It's not his strongest suit, but I like it. Blocks, they're going to go out the window. He's not a very strong blocky guy. But what am I going to lean into and who's going to be the best on board? So next tip, best on board. You want to be rocking with the guys, especially when you're dealing before the turns every single time with getting the best on the board, because you're basically giving up 4 picks really quickly. Or 6 picks if you're just behind. It's when you're drafting at 1, you get your 2, you get your 2 picks really quickly at the turn, or 12 or 11, you get those quick turn picks. There's the dog days. And you're just in these really dangerous boundaries at the end of your draft. As you can see here going off the board, we've got Kevin Durant as expected, Anthony Edwards at 11. I still say first round is too high for Ant this year. I love him as a player. Don't see him as first round. That might just be me. I've got Trae Young, not Thaddeus Young. Don't draft the wrong tier Young. That's also a good strategy, I think. Steph Curry, again, Steph Curry, Not Seth Curry. You don't want to burn that bridge too soon. Chet Holmgren on there as well is all coming off the board. You can see that I've got these guys listed. Guys who I know are not going to be in my, there goes Don Mitchell, Kyrie, see, there you go, Kyrie Irving straight away. Drafted 16th. And as you can see here from what we had before, his ADP already is really coming in. So he's going to be gone early on. The days of thinking you can pick up Kyrie late, like 20 to 25, I think they're done. I haven't been in a draft yet with analysts or just jumping in a Yahoo one where Kyrie has gone outside of the top 20. So he's definitely consolidated himself as value there. I'm liking the potential for Scotty Barnes, not so much for Jalen Brunson. I do have the narrative of a potential Damian Lillard flashback season in here for this year. I'm also kind of liking Paul George and guys on this team. I haven't made any punts yet. I've got a good base. And I really want to double down probably on my assists. So a guy who's going to give me those and be distributing. These are the projections down below, by the way. If you see their projection, you can get their average stats here from last year to get your guideline. It also gives you their games played on Yahoo to give you drafting. So I'm coming up to my pick now. I've kind of got my fill of guys, to be fair. I did say LaMelo was one, and this is what Ellis has this. I'm going to say that I want to get LaMelo. And I'm going to play at risk and be like, I want to get LaMelo or Kawhi. I'm leaving two guys on the board now that I think can come back to me. Maybe. Depending on how frisky and risky the other guys after me are going to get. So I need to make my decision. As you can see, my queue has been decimated. Guys that I even mentioned, like Scotty Barnes is gone, Sabonis is gone, Booker's gone, Kyrie's gone, Don Mitchell. Ricky's about to pick here, and this is kind of going to guide what I do. I'm hoping that he leaves Lillard, and I've got my next guys. Oh, come on. Come on. Maybe I look at Paul George. Look, I'm not so anti-Paul George. His ADP is around this mark. You can see that the Yahoo ranked for him at 66. I think that's like outrageously down. I'll speak to Titus about that one. Dan, okay, so here we go. I do have the chance to get that one. LaMelo bought. There you go. LaMelo was taken off. So now I'm playing a risk. Do I leave Kawhi on the board and see how far he slips? Yeah, I'm going to. Because I'm going to draft Damian Lillard here because LaMelo, the guy I would have taken, he's gone out for me. Goodbye, draft sounds. I think that's annoying for me and for you at one point. Maybe I'll turn them on when it comes nearby so it sounds exciting. Who knows? But for me, I've taken Dame there, and now I'll put it in Jazz and Bell's hands to see what they do next. I'm hoping Kawhi comes back to me because, again, I'm looking for best on board. But this is the thing. Like in your draft, you are going to make a choice. And you're going to make that choice straight away. Be like, okay, I'm just going to wait. He'll come back. He'll come back. Yep, Paul George goes up and boom. Right here, this is a lucky turn. I got lucky. Straight after that, we've had Jalen Brunson, Paul George, De'Aaron Fox, LeBron James. Love all of those picks. But it has now put me in a position where 27, a top 10 player is sitting there. I have to take him. Kawhi Leonard, welcome home to the team. And that's what I'm doing here. Now, I start to look at my guys up next. Now, if you're using Yahoo, they will offer you suggestions. Don't stick to these as your golden. It's going to put you guys based on their rankings, especially if you're new. I did have an email the other, not an email, a DM say, what's the system when they say, like, when you say one guy, why is the scout a different guy? Well, it's all based off their projections. So that is completely based off Yahoo's projections. It's not based on mine or hashtags or basketball monsters. It's not based on ESPN's. It's based off Yahoo's. And they're not bad, but they do get things wrong as their rankings. And they're already starting to shift. And with that shift, the value starts to be chipped away. With every single time that this happens, you need to have guys in mind. So again, when you're drafting in this position of like 3, 9, 10, like 3, 4, 9, 10, you need to know who are your guys because you have it's dangerous. It's like 4 guys who are going to go, and you kind of have to pick one that you need to get or you won. As you saw just then in my example, I put in LaMelo and Kawhi. Now, if I can get those guys back, I could have got both there, maybe, but LaMelo went the pick before me. So then I've got to make a choice. I think LaMelo would go in the second round almost all the time. And I think LaMelo will go off the board before Kawhi. So I was happy that he went off the board, but I do leave the best player on the board. And I'm like, I'll play it safe. And I took Dame. So right now, I think I'm in a pretty good position. I've got a lot of points. I've got a ton of assists there. Kawhi fills me across the board. I like that a lot. I'm probably weak on steals and blocks, and I probably want to start to focus in on those guys. Now, this is one of the recommendations up here, Jalen Williams, and it starts to get back to the time that I'm not going to get these guys. I'm not going to get the guys that I want because I'm in this zone. So now I'm scrambling going, okay, I want steals, I want blocks. Where am I going to get them? Who's going to give them to me? And there's a couple of guys that I like. It is Jarrett Allen around this time, probably a really good center and field goal option. And field goals are probably going to help buoy me a little bit there. He also has a really decent line. And here we go. Evan Mobley, Miles Turner. It moves really quickly. Ja Morant, another guy I might have liked. Jalen Williams is still here. And I can't believe this. And there's no chance that Emilio, Eden, or Ricky leaves Jalen Williams to 45. The arrival of Alex Caruso, people think he'll be down. The arrival of Isaiah Hartenstein, people think he might be a little bit down. I love Jalen Williams. I've been in social media back and forth over him. I like the guy. I don't think he's down. And there he goes there. For me, 43 for him is absolutely elite, and I love that. I'm probably looking at out of position blocks. I can get probably Derek White, but you can see I've got my guard positions really filled up there. So that's going to move it down to a utility spot pretty automatically. There's other guys now that I like, and I'm not sure if I should take them or not because I'm reaching. Guys like Emmanuel Quickly. Here we go. So I know that Emmanuel Quickly is there. He's come up for me. Another guard position. I've got to make a choice. I did say I want to focus in on that. So I'm going to lean into that. Boy, now it happens really quickly. There you go. Jamal Murray, Jimmy Butler, DeMar DeRozan, all guys coming off the board really, really quickly. And right here at 51, I'm kind of drafting him at his ceiling. But again, it's a guy that's not going to come back to me. And it's a guy that I mentioned. I really like what I can get there from Quickly. My high steals guys are going to go off soon. I'm going to take him. I don't want him to go to anyone else. I like Quickers. I call him Nesquik because I'm Australian and it was a childhood favorite drink. But now I'm really filled at that guard spot. But a lot of points there. I think he's going to be a great distributor of the team. I've really upped my threes there, especially to counteract that. I've buoyed it with field goal percentage. Kawhi's a great field goal percentage guy. Jarrett Allen's a great field goal percentage guy. And I'm keeping my promise to myself in my picks that I know where I'm going and I'm seeing the players in advance. All of a sudden, I need to think down. So if they think now, I've got 20 positions of value. Let's go by their rankings here. And you can see guys who are falling down automatically. Guys who I like around this zone, Tobias Harris, maybe DeAndre Ayton. Again, I do have 2 center spots that I need to fill, so I need to fill them. Vucevic goes, Siakam's going, Zion Williamson at 58, Vooch at 57, Claxton, Garland, Ayton, Tobias Harris. Here you go. Randall, Brandon Miller, all guys that I was thinking of and talking. So now it's come back to me really bloody quickly. I'm going to take him here because I think it's value, but I'm going to take Hartenstein and fill up my second spot. Now, you can see that his ADP is at 93 and 92. And when we listen back to this pod, or if you get this later down the track, because his name's down there, I think the guy's possibly top 50 value on the season. So I'm getting him 20 positions out of it. Now, I think there's other centers that I can get. Guys like Dan Gafford late, I like that. But again, I'm trying to keep my free throws high. I could probably get maybe Mark Williams here. I do like him depending on the games that I can play. If he can play that 64 games that's projected for him, I probably do like him just a little bit more than Hartenstein for the maybe. But I think it's splitting hairs at this point. I really do like him. Look, that stuffs me up anyway. He's gone. Giddey's gone, who I was thinking of next. So I'm going to take Hartenstein really quickly. So I know where I want to go. There's guys like Trey Murphy that I want for those steals and for the points and threes. He's there. I was also looking at guys like D'Angelo Russell later on or Jabari Smith Jr. He's going to help buoy that. But I really do like what I can get by Herb Jones or Trey Murphy here. Herbie's really good. His field goals percentage is better and his free throw percent. I'm a little bit surprised about what he's going to do minutes-wise. I'm probably going to take a punt and I'm going to lean into I've got a lot of guards. Look, I'm going to take Herb Jones there. It was auto-picked anyway. I wanted him there. It's good. So I've got Herbie Jones. I'm thinking Trey Murphy, though, later on is a good option for me. I want to fill up those stealies, three-point guys, high free throw percentage guys to help buoy my team. So I like where I'm on track for, and I've filled my 2 center spots now. The only problem with this, and especially if you're drafting one of these mock drafts, my 2 center spots are filled, and I haven't offset that by having a power forward center. I love that eligibility of both of those being there. And you can see here that Dan Gafford, who I mentioned, is coming back around really, really bloody quickly to me. Jesus, that's just flown out the door. So Anthony Simons, Terry Rozier, Trey Murphy, my Q's gone, Anthony Simons, and here he's landing back to me. Dan Gafford really quickly. OG Anunoby I like here. He falls in that. I had that, and I like Bogdan Bogdanovic there as well. And boom, straight away where I was knowing, here's the result. So draft results right here. Let's go back. Kristaps Porzingis fell off. This is the top 100, and it is absolutely flying. Jordan Poole, OG, Tyus, and Chris Paul. A lot of guys have just put it on their bloody queue, and it is flying back to me. This puts you under the pump. God knows if this happens on a day where people have just set their queues and going off the board, you'll be absolutely obliterated. But now this is the importance of it. Guys who I want to get later around the 120, a little bit frisky zone. Ooh, is Middleton still on the board? Let's get in there quickly. No, he's gone off the board. That all happened so bloody quickly. And I'm going back in here. Now, I don't like Josh Hart here, but I do like guys like maybe Denny Advia to have a little bit of an advantage. But I also like Cam Johnson. Just gone off the bloody board. Damn it, Cam. All right. I'm okay. I'm going to take Dante knowing that that's coming back to me, but I also like him. So I'm going to take Dante around that zone. I'm okay with that. And I'm going to take in probably Colin Sexton because I know that he wasn't taken yet, and I like what I can do by way of Colin Sexton. And that's going to fly back around. So I know my guys, and I've got that point guard. I've got that more flexibility. I've filled up that shooting guard and small forward. I've got my utility guys who I can use between the point guard position and the shooting guard position. And again, what we really like about Luka is he is dual eligibility there as well. I'm looking for some upside here, and other guys who I like are guys like Gary Trent Jr. And Denny Advia has some upside for me as well. So I'm going to go Ricochet as an upside pick late as it's coming back to me. I do like what he could probably bring to me. And I also like the potential for Dyson Daniels because I did say Dyson Daniels was in my list earlier in some drafts. I like what he kind of unlock in Atlanta, and I'm looking for his steals there. So I really like what I'm going to get by way of him. Another pick that I can make around now who can play across positions is a guy like Klay Thompson. Clay for me, not Flay Thompson. You can't spell it like that. Oh, Clay's just gone out the bloody window. All right, Taylor Hendricks. Here's an upside guy, small forward, power forward that's going to get plenty of minutes and run in Utah to finish out my draft, and I like that. So you can see when it happens off the board. I had it. I've left Ricochet there. I think he's well down. I think it's what's going to happen best for my team, but I've filled it out, and I've actually think I pretty much nailed the draft, to be fair. I'll be very curious to see these projections in a second. Here we go. Standings at the end. All right. It's put me 3. I'm high everywhere I want. I like that a lot. Of my projections, I'm clearly first. I like it. And I'm not clearly first. I'm narrowly first. You can see here that I've got a lot of points in the kit. So where am I points-wise? I might be down, but I can trade away for those. And you can see that I've out guys. But rebounds-wise, assist-wise, I'm strong. Steals-wise, I ended up winning that, and I started behind on that one. Blocks, very competitive. Turnovers, yeah, pretty middle of the pack. If you look, there's a lot more. So I'm going to lock those in really nicely. Threes, I've got a great shotters there. Free throws are down, but my field goal percentage is buoying that. So I'm looking over my stats, and I'm a really well-balanced line. And these here, these are just the projected stats as well, according to Yahoo, which, again, I am diametrically opposed to at a point. But I like where I am, and I like where my draft is. But that's the thing about having the guys where I'm going to switch the queue. And because that went so bloody rapidly, it flew. I had my plan in mind, and I had my other options, guys. You have 2 or 3 per draft, per time at that spot. Write them down like I had then. Like I'm going to go this guy, this guy, this guy. Okay, they're gone. Boom. That way you're never panicked. Don't panic. If you've got a plan and you can stick to it, that's the hack. And I know it might all seem there because it's cash leagues and it's money, and we're just playing with, we're playing with fences here. That's fair. But in a draft like this where picks absolutely go off, you need to have that plan and stick to it. I am really, really, really happy with that team. Luka, Kawhi, Lillard, Jones, Herbert Jones, not another Jones, Dan Gafford, OG Anunoby, Jared Allen, Isaiah Hartenstein, Emmanuel Quickly, Dante DiVincenzo, Colin Sexton, Dyson Daniels, and I've got some upside flashy there with Taylor Hendricks. Look, we know that Taylor Hendricks can play. He can get minutes there. I like what he can do. Obviously, massive contract and a wad of cash thrown at Lowry Markkanen. But for me, I really like the upside on that one. I actually see Taylor Hendricks as maybe like a top 120 player. I actually don't think I got anyone here that's outside the top 120. And that's the other plan. Try and make your team as much top 120 base value so you're never scrambling or you have high assets. So the other tip is this: look for the guys that you know could return value and people will skip out on. They're going to come back to you. And if they're skipping out to you and you can get those planned value guys, you know who are a little bit off, but you know are going to be better, and they're looking for maybe a sexy pick, like a sexy rookie pick, you can return value almost instantly every single time. And if you're doing that, well, you're basically right as rabbits for your whole draft. Those are the main tips and tricks when drafting that one. Let's go over them one more time. 1, set a queue. 2, multiple options. Drag your queue, know what you need. 3, know your league settings. Hate two center leagues. Get your commission to make it 1 center. That's really good. 4, if you do have 2 centers, make sure you have position eligibility and flexibility when you are drafting, especially if you're on that turn and you do get a bit stressed. You're like, oh, I need a center. Are they power forward, center eligible? Because if it needs to fill those spots and you've got a couple of power forwards, you can rotate them in there. It's a lot easier to target streamers during the course of the season with just the guys who can just play the one spot. This goes for shooting guards, small forwards, power forwards, but a lot of those guys, they've got dual eligibility. It's more for centers and point guards that have one or the other. The wing position is kind of open, if you know what I mean. Like it's like, oh yeah, they're small forward, power forward, or they're a shooting guard, small forward. So get that dual eligibility. That's going to help you out a lot as well. Those are the main keys. Get those locked in, help those with your draft. And again, don't panic, draft well, have your list, know your guys, target upside, but also build off the foundation so you're never going to be stressed to grab those guys who you know are going to actively contribute and a top 120 value. Aim for them. Don't go reaching for the ceiling. Draft them at their floor. And if you can draft at that floor of 120 as a rule, you'll be laughing. Guys, make sure if you need more tips and tricks on this one, you get into our big draft board kit. Now, it is available now on Patreon. You can go in there. You can access it. It's only 30 Australian dollars. That's like $6 if you're in the US. And it's a consensus board as well as 4 analyst mock boards as well. We've got all of that data coming out. It's updated early in September as well, our second pass at it to see where guys are tracking up or down. So we have the whole draft process in there. It's going to help you know where your guys are, where we're tracking them, where websites are tracking them. It's got over 220 players referenced and their history for the last 5 years with how many games they've played, whether it's good or it's advantageous for you in your drafts. Make sure you lock into it. Get onto that one. It's down below for the link. Make sure you like and subscribe to all things Inside Fantasy Sport. We'll catch you really soon.